Hello, Doug.
Welcome to Tablenauts. My name's Max.
I'm Doolin.
I'm Jash.
I'm Kenny.
And today we are going to be reviewing and discussing Guards of Atlantis 2, which is on Gamefound right now. We're going to do a what is, why you should, why you shouldn't, and then we're just going to talk about it, our final thoughts, our actual review and rankings of the game. What is Guards of Atlantis? This is a team-based MOBA board game with asymmetrical heroes. You're going to be pushing your lanes and defeating minions and each other until someone is declared a winner. Now, if you're looking for a full rules overhead, this is not the place to find that, but I can tell you that it's a card-based game where you're gonna be playing 4 out of your hand of 5 cards every round. Those things have initiative on that and actions, and basically you're gonna determine what you do on your turn. So a very simplistic overview, but why should you get Guards of Atlantis 2?
Is good.
Thank you, Jash.
I hate having you here. Go back to Japan. I'm just kidding.
I'll start with that too. Why should you get it?
Why should Jash go back to Japan?
If you like team-based games. If you're someone who thinks that you enjoy playing, we were on teams every time.
That's true. Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I would have enjoyed it if I were on their team, but me and you, that was great fun.
Good teamwork.
That was
we
mean.
listen to each other.
I heard
We
that was
do.
hurtful.
We listen to each other.
Yeah.
Do you?
I was just talking about how they didn't listen to me. Yeah,
was that?
Exactly. If you think that you're going to be able to play with 4 or 6 people regularly and be able to get that teamwork, blood flow going, this is a great game for that.
Yeah. I think there's so much content in the box too that this is a game like it could be a lifestyle game too.
100%.
Absolutely.
This is a game you could return to week after week after week, and you still wouldn't be able to plumb the depths of what's in that box. So.
Absolutely. I love the asymmetry of the characters, the fact that each of them also has a difficulty, which we messed around with quite a bit. We played first, second, and third level characters. All of us did, and we got the chance to see kind of how the base characters teach you the game, but I think personally the higher level characters are more fun. Like the last game we played, Jash and I lost in a pretty awful round. Really, we were on top and then we just lost in one round. But the game was a blast because we both played these. I was an ape, you were a monkey, and just swinging around
in the game.
Oh my gosh. I was swinging around on vines. I got to throw out vines all the time, and I don't know. I loved that every time I played felt like a different style of game, you know. Sure. But that's easily why I would get it. If you're interested in a game that has asymmetric characters that are wildly different, that every time you go back to it, it feels new and fresh, that's why I would get it.
To speak to kind of both of your points, I feel like one of the reasons why you should get Guards of Atlantis is if you are someone like me who loves Root and kind of fell down that rabbit hole. Guards of Atlantis is a very different game than Root, but at the same time, it shares a lot of similarities in terms of the community that surrounds it. It's a very passionate group of people that are all in the Discord, willing to answer questions, willing to play games. In terms of the amount of depth there is and the asymmetrical factions or heroes, they're totally different games, but if you like Root and are committed to playing a game repeat plays over and over again, this is in that vein. If you go from playing with your 4 Root players to playing this with your 4 Root players, but now playing Guards of Atlantis, it's going to be a totally different experience, but I think it's going to work for all of you, much for the same reasons that it worked for Root.
Like you said, it's a board game MOBA. So if that appeals to you,
100%.
if the gameplays of MOBA appeal to you, if you like League of Legends, Smite, Heroes of the Storm, then I can't really think of how you could more faithfully adapt that style of gameplay.
I want to throw this out there too. If you're a fan of not a lot of luck in games, this is definitely a great game for you. There's no dice. And it's a miniatures, well, if you want to call it that. It's a skirmish game. Yeah. But the fact that it's a skirmish game with no luck, all of it is very strategy heavy. If games like Unmatched appeal to you, if games like Super Fantasy Brawl appeal to you, where there are no really luck-based things at all.
And I would say, kind of going with what you're saying, I've never actually played a MOBA, but I actually found it very easy to get into the game. I think that's one of the better qualities to the games, like it's a fairly simple system to learn and to teach.
Yes.
And I think it's a game like even if you come back to it only once or twice a year, you'll probably pick it up pretty easy because there's good, easy gateway characters to play that you can kind of just pick up and play.
Yeah.
So like even if like it isn't the game you're gonna play a lot, you can still pick it up and play pretty quick. So.
Yeah. Truthfully, it is a fairly simple set of rules, right? Like the way you play is quite easy to follow. It's the difficulty and the complexity that comes from mixing 6 characters together on a single battlefield that are all doing totally different things.
Yeah.
Is where it comes into play. But as far as picking up and playing, I 100% agree. It's actually quite simple.
Yeah, low floor, high ceiling.
Yes. Now, why shouldn't you get Cards of Atlantis? I don't know about you guys. I think this is quite easy to answer. I think this is a really black and white opinion.
Not that we didn't like it.
No. I actually love this game.
Yeah.
I think that if you think this is a game for you, like, yes,
Yeah.
you should get this
Absolutely.
game.
It's great.
100%. But if you do not think that you're going to, we can boil it all down to if you don't think you're going to table it, basically. Because I think the 2 things that are most important are player count. I think that you can play this game at odd numbers. You can play it at 2. Some people really like that, but you're playing with more than one hero. It just adds to the complexity and removes that team play element. But if you're not going to ever see this at 4 and 6, or if in general you are Cult of the New and someone who just enjoys playing new things rather, instead of coming back to the same game, then this is not for you. I mean, it's a great game, but pretty cut and dry in my opinion. If you're not going to get the team player count involved, and if you're not going to see the table fairly regularly, I agree with Kenny. You don't have to play it. You don't have to play it 3 times a month to make it worth your money. But like, if you don't like to dig into a game, not for you.
I think a player count consideration is really strong too. Because I was thinking about our group right here, the 4 of us. When
As soon as Josh leaves, I know
it's gonna be a lot harder to table.
I agree. I was thinking about that myself.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I can't believe you.
I will say,
He was trying to get rid of me earlier in the video too.
So was I. But then I thought about Guards of Atlantis and I was like,
Yeah.
I guess we should.
Yes, a reason to exist.
I think I would miss having a teammate if
Yeah.
I was that solo player.
I genuinely think it's probably still a great game. I think that that's just going to appeal to fewer people.
Right.
I mean, I would probably play it and enjoy it at 2, but like, or at 3 and being the sole person, whatever. But having to manage both heroes by myself, I think that I would get overwhelmed because at that point in time, it's all full information. Like, I'm not even relying on you. Well, I never played on your team. I'm not even relying on you to
rely
like
on you.
make a play with me. I'm just doing it myself.
yeah.
But like the amount of AP that I think that can involve is probably just a bit much.
Yeah. Especially as you learn more and more about the game and how the characters interact, like it can get intense, I think.
Yeah. So I think we all agree that it's a really good game. And if you think that it's for you, you should absolutely back it. But it's also very easy to tell if this isn't for you, which honestly is a blessing right now. I
Yeah,
mean, there's so many games out there where it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, this is a game that you should know if you should get or not. And if you fall on the one side or the other, go with your heart and do it because
Really
you're
is.
going to be happy either way.
Do you have a healthy 3 other people that you can play with regularly?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, really.
If
And
the
thankfully-
answer is yes,
Hey.
Great game.
Tablenauts recommend.
That's right. Now, you obviously already know that we like it, but we wanted to spend a little more time talking about why we like it, the specifics, because, like we said, the should you, shouldn't you is kind of cut and dry. So let's move on to just in general some thoughts about the game. One thing we haven't talked at all, and that I think desperately needs to be mentioned, is just the upgrade system. Not only are like the heroes unique in and of themselves, but I can play Wasp one game and Wasp another game and branch off in 2 totally separate paths that by the end of the game, my Wasp is a shell of what she was the game before, like a totally different, an exoskeleton of what she was the game before. Totally different gameplay experience, even in the same hero. So not only is there complexity and depth in every single hero, but then the branching element just adds to that. And I think the way that the card upgrade works is super well done, and you get like an item for the card that you don't choose, but I'll let you all speak to that too. It's just one of the things I really like about the game.
Now, to add to that, like the upgrade system
makes you worth more to the other team to kill, which is so we also, I don't think we've really talked about the fact that like you can win by either pushing kills or you can win by pushing the lanes and the objectives. So with that added in, like something that I brought up in mini reviews is that I enjoy games that ramp up, that have your early moments feel kind of weak, but your late moments feel really strong. So your upgrades, you feel awesome, but also the stakes are way higher as the game goes on. Like one hit on Kenny early game, like it's like, haha, you gotta go all the way back to the beginning, but one hit on Kenny late game can be the matter of winning or losing, you know? And it's great. I love that about it.
And the game always makes you choose whether you want to attack a person or a minion, and it's a tough call every time.
Yeah, and I think like there aren't a lot of board games like at this kind of like weight and strategy level that are team based, right? I can only think of maybe a handful, and this really does evoke the feel of like a MOBA, like where your team's relying on you, you're relying on your team. If you do good, you feel good because you know you lifted up the team, and if you do bad, you feel bad because. You just blew it, right?
We both had instances of that. The last game we played, granted, I think I ended up ending the game on a high note, but the last game we played, you were crushing it, and I was like, can I have some money, please? Money, I was doing nothing and getting no money, and then in turn, not upgrading at all, and Kenny's just like, pew, pew, like shooting people from 5 range away. Yeah. He was having a blast. I brought it back, and then the time before that, you were the same way, where I was like 3 levels above you, and maybe we just weren't sharing the minions well enough. I don't know, but I also love that aspect.
That way? I felt like
I thought we were both great.
The entire time. Really great. Yeah.
So one thing that I like about it is just like how much stuff there is to it. Like there are 3 tiers of heroes, and there's probably about like maybe 5 or 6 of each, and they all have their own minis. The minions all have their own minis. There are 2 different boards depending on the player count, and then there are also like objectives that you can add beyond just what you do at the base game. So you're getting a lot of game when you get this.
Yeah, and the new reprint is also going to have a couple more character packs if you want even more characters. Just so you know, some slight changes from what you see at the table to what's actually coming in the reprint. I do believe they're getting rid of the big box. And they're kind of trimming it down to a smaller box, but then going to have the expansion boxes separate. And then they're also changing up the 2 maps. There's still going to be 2 maps included, but they're not. One of them's different. And then they've also done some errata, but nothing that really changes the way the game plays, just how the cards read. Still function the exact same, just trying to make things a bit easier to parse. So, I mean, it's really a faithful reprint, just with a couple minor aesthetic differences. But you can come to expect the same game with just even more content and a slight bit of polish on it.
Yeah.
So, in short, should you back Guards of Atlantis? Will you play it? Absolutely you should. If you won't play it, obviously don't get it, though I know some of you collectors out there will ignore that advice anyways and still get it. But as is tradition on YouTube, we're going to rate things. I mean, YouTube's a place for rating things. So, Jash, what's your rating?
I give it a Dota 2 out of Smite.
That isn't entirely unhelpful. Kenny.
I give it 4 out of 5 Tablenauts.
I give it 2 Guards of Atlantis out of 2 Guards of Atlantis.
You give it 100?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is that high for you?
Yeah, it's
legitimately.
It's probably a 10. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It might be a 9, but like that's really hard to do 9 when you're talking 2 numbers, like 2 whole numbers, like 1.833 repeating. Guards of Atlantis out of 2 Guards of Atlantis.
I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really like this game. I could see myself owning it. I could also see myself letting one of you guys own it instead. But I think that I would at least want to have access to it. Like there would be a hole in my collection without it.
Yeah, there's gonna be a hole in our hearts when we can't play this game because Jash leaves. Mostly because we can't play this game. Less because Jash is leaving.
We'll put out an ad.
Do table.
Big butt, bigger heart.